Honestly, like that's one of the coolest things ever is just to be in the city and recognize like some of these things that were just dreams of mine many years ago starting to come to pass in new and more meaningful ways than I could even have thought about. So I'm back in New York for Climate Week with Bloom. We had this event at New Lab called New Climate Ventures. It was a really cool event. I figured take the opportunity while I'm in New York to try to make some other videos. Unfortunately, it's been raining this weekend, so I'm not really able to do as much as I'd like, but I figure I'll just give you guys a bit of an update on what's going on with Bloom and Propel and everything else. There's been a lot going on in the past several months. We've been doing a lot more bike review videos. We did a bike tour of Detroit, which I'm looking forward to launching that video. I've been thinking more and more about that. Over the years, we've done some different tours to different cities, and I think I'd really like to do more of that. I really enjoy it, and I think we're starting to get a bit of a format together, which is basically me just like making my way through the city and seeing what it's like, because that's what it's like when you visit a city or when you move to the city for the first time. Is it welcoming? Is it easy to navigate? Am I often finding myself in just a dead end of bike infrastructure? Am I able to like get to places where I want to go and feel safe and protected? I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Would you like to see more of that? I'm also like trying to figure out the financial model where that makes sense. Maybe we get tourism boards involved and they can support that. Maybe there's hotels that are supporting it or restaurants. I don't really know. But that's definitely one of these categories of videos that I'm excited about making more of. If you guys have experience with that or you have any feedback, this is all new to me, but you know, we're navigating our way through this. Could couple that with visiting some of these different brands and service providers on the Bloom side and just helping to tell more stories around what makes this industry really interesting and starting to see how it's developing. Starting to develop some ideas around a podcast. I've been chatting about this for years, but it's a matter of like finding the right setup. Of course, I prefer to do it in person, but it's not always viable. Some of these stories that I want to tell, maybe it doesn't necessarily make sense to travel to get to these places, but if we can find ways to tell these stories, have these conversations in that sort of way. I wonder what you guys think about that. Overall, some new things coming, a lot of new changes at Propel or a continuation of some of the changes that have happened. I'm really excited about what my sister Kat and the rest of the team are doing to introduce new programs to support riders. They're doing 12-month interest-free financing. We're doing more and more leasing. Looking forward to leaning more into that. That actually happens to be in Europe a very popular way for people to get bikes. The US is just starting. We have insurance products to make it easier. Theft, as you guys know, is a really big concern and something that we're trying to address these concerns and allow people to more easily purchase bikes. Service is also becoming a bigger and bigger thing. We recognize the need for the community to support that. So we introduced service plans. That's really the team. I can't take credit for it, but I appreciate what they're doing. We're doing more and more to support the overall community of riders, provided the bikes are safe and we can get parts for them. I think generally the team will try to support them as well. I think that that's going to continue to grow and evolve. We also likely have some interesting things coming up in the future, supporting some bigger brands with service, particularly some products that historically maybe have not been supported that well. For me, as somebody that started this business 13 years ago, it's pretty wild to see it kind of flourishing on its own. And I'm able to do these new things and go deeper with the industry with Bloom. As like I look out here and watch people pass by on bikes that I know very likely came from this shop, that's really inspiring to me. That's one of the coolest things ever is just to be like in the city and recognize like some of these things that were just dreams of mine many years ago starting to come to pass and to have all these folks really carrying on that vision in new and more meaningful ways than I could even have thought about. Some other things, there's new brands that we're introducing, continuing to build on the relationships of the brands that we have existing, but continuing to introduce new products that might meet some unique needs that folks might have. Cube is a new brand that we recently introduced. The German brand has a lot of different bikes, do a lot in like electric mountain bikes, trekking bikes, but they also have some like compact and cargo bikes, which is definitely more in the direction that Propel has been leaning to go deeper and deeper in this cargo side. I think that there continues to be opportunities, and the future of bikes, everything's going to be a cargo bike. Because if you think about it, how many people buy cars today without a trunk? You know, the idea that you're going to buy a bike for transportation without some way of carrying cargo. But you know, I mean, what do you need? What's the basic minimum, that sort of stuff. It's always nice to have that extra utility, but there's some other brands from Europe that are likely coming. There's one that we did a video with Velo. They actually have a titanium electric cargo bike, something quite unique, and they have some pretty cool folding bikes, different features. Continuing to evolve there and continuing to just put my trust in the team. We haven't gotten Tara yet on the video. We have been busy. She's been busy editing like the videos that we've been creating. It's been interesting. We've been staying pretty busy. I've been finding ways, despite having a young family at home, finding ways to make these videos. Like right here, I'm in New York on the weekend making videos. My wife, you know, might prefer I'm home with the family, but we're continuing to develop and put the effort in here. So I hope you recognize it. It's not the easiest thing. That's a little bit more on the like Propel front. On the Bloom front, it's been cool. We like officially launched in March. We've been onboarding a lot of customers, and I'm really looking forward to covering more of the stuff that I've been doing at Bloom. But honestly, we've just been really busy. Been working with a lot of different brands and really helping them to support like their back-end physical operations. We've been getting manufacturing assembly work going on in the US, which is exciting. Some of that stuff takes a while, so step at a time. Been doing a lot of warehousing logistics, so if you know any brands that might need support, if you might be watching this and you're somebody that works for a brand that needs support around those pieces, reach out, be happy to help. Looking forward to launching more tools around some of those pieces, and that'll be really cool, so look out for some updates around that. We're building a network ecosystem of partners throughout the US, so I look forward to telling some of their stories, telling some of the stories of the brands that we're working with some new and interesting formats. I actually haven't had a car for the past 5 months. That's a story for another time. Somebody totaled my car within 1 month of living in Detroit. They just ran through a red light, which apparently is very common there. But I've kind of been resistant to like getting another car, so we'll see what goes on. One thing that's interesting with Bloom, there's a lot of things that maybe I can't necessarily talk about, but I'll try to share what I can. We're actually working with this new company called Moon Bikes. It's actually an electric snow bike. Think of it like a lighter weight snowmobile. All sorts of interesting stuff. So look forward to giving you more updates and finding ways to integrate those brands into the channel and telling their stories. It is really interesting to be more deeply involved in these companies, particularly in some of the early phases, or helping them to restructure some of their operations. It's been quite fun. Definitely a lot going on in Detroit, different than what I thought. I look forward to sharing the video, touring around there. I think many will be surprised at some of the bike infrastructure there. It's really quite impressive. It's allowed me to be car-free for the past 4 months. It's been cool to get involved in the bike scene in Detroit. Some really interesting folks. I happened to meet this guy named Jason Hall, the guy that started the Slow Roll. I'd really be inspired to see more of that sort of activity in other cities. It's kind of cool to see in the Motor City, actually a pretty strong bike culture, a little bit different than a place like New York, but super cool nonetheless. I'm looking forward to encouraging more different vehicles out on the street there. We'll see. And I think that that's really it. I'm gonna kind of end it here. Really appreciate it, guys. Look forward to seeing you in a future video, and let's keep this thing going. Appreciate the support. Take care.